SDPD's wish list for 2018. Topping that list are high-grade microscopes and cameras to replace aging equipment in SDPD's highly acclaimed crime lab. To give you an idea of how important this is, we have a special presentation by the crime lab manager, who is also a Women in Blue 2014 honoree. Now to present this fantastic program, CSI Myths Versus Reality, please help me in welcoming Jennifer Shen.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know if I can live up to that, but here we go. There we go. Go to the scene, examine the body, go to the autopsy, catch criminals, conduct interviews, force confessions, go back to the lab for complicated and improbable analyses, solve the crime, save the day in an hour in designer clothes, looking fabulous at night. That is what we do. I'm out. No. I'm definitely asked in my career frequently, what is the difference between real CSI and CSI on television? And there are differences, let me tell you. First of all, they're very glamorous on TV. I gotta tell you, crime scene work is not glamorous. It's dirty work, sometimes it's dangerous work. We have to wear lab coats and gloves and masks and goggles, and sometimes we have to wear safety shoes, and those are not glamorous. I've always been sort of intrigued by the lighting situation that goes on television. It's always pretty dark, and if you can see in these scenes, it's even dark in the conference room. So who sits in a conference room in the dark? That happened to me. I would think that's kind of creepy. We need to see things. We need to look at physical characteristics. We need light. There's a lot of things wrong with this particular scene. One of them is we do not interrogate suspects, and this particular suspect is clearly a walking biohazard. Crime scenes on TV are always much nicer than crime scenes in real life. This particular one, it's in a nice house, there's a hardwood floor, the body, the blood, all sort of together. Our intrepid scientists do have on booties, but our gal does have bare arms. This definitely is more representative of what we see. You are not going in there with bare arms, and you're not going in there with designer jeans. So what do we do? I would like to take a few minutes to talk about some of the amazing forensic accomplishments that we have accomplished under the tenure of our chief, Shelley Zimmerman. Number one, we turned her into a lab coat model. Number two, after practicing about 400 times, she finally perfected the ice cream sundae. And last, I got her to realize, yes, more types of ice cream, always better. But seriously, since I have exactly 5 minutes to give the speech, I'm only going to give you 2 examples. First, I'd like to talk about our fired cartridge case study. A lot of homicide scenes, shooting scenes, the only evidence that is at that scene are fired cartridge cases. And traditionally, we've had a really hard time getting DNA or fingerprints from those cartridge cases. Why is that? Essentially, every time you pull the trigger, you create an explosion in the gun of heat and gas and pressure. It's so hot that it actually slightly softens the metal on the cartridge case. So when it's ejected from the gun, it gets microscopic characteristics unique to that weapon. That's not a good situation to get DNA. So we commissioned a study in our laboratory, and we wanted to optimize our processes to make them as absolutely sensitive as possible to see if we could get low levels. So how do we do that? First, we looked at how we sample cartridge cases. Traditionally, you would take a cotton swab, dip it in some solvent, and then sort of rub it on that cartridge case, and then analyze the swab. Well, we decided, hey, let's take that cartridge case and put it right into the liquid itself. Give it a little bath, kind of shake it up, get that solvent all over all the surfaces of the cartridge case so that all the DNA on that cartridge case is now in the liquid. Then we took that liquid and we concentrated it down to one tiny little drop. So now all the DNA from that cartridge case is in one tiny little drop. Then we use our most sensitive kit to see if we could get really low levels of DNA. And shockingly, we were very, very successful. So currently in about 60% of our cases, we are getting at least one usable profile from one cartridge case. So we are also able to take this process and publish it so other agencies are using it to help their investigators solve crimes. Our second accomplishment is ShotSpotter. Many of you know that ShotSpotter it's essentially a listening device that's put in a specific area, and it's attuned to hear gunshot noises. And it's attuned to give you very specific locations as to where that gunshot event occurred, so that our officers can get very quickly to that scene. This is great for the laboratory because oftentimes our officers are able to find cartridge cases at that scene. They're sent to the laboratory. We send it to our firearms unit, and they can look at those microscopic characteristics, take photos of them, and put them into a database and compare that shooting event to other shooting events across the city and the county. This is done across the nation. It's done in many jurisdictions. But as you might imagine, in San Diego, we do it just a little bit differently. In San Diego, we take those cartridge cases from the scene, and first we send it to our DNA unit. And they extract it for DNA profiles, and then we send it to our firearm unit, they photograph it, and they put it in that DNA, in that firearms database. So, very successful at this. Half of our cases were actually matching these cartridge cases from our ShotSpotter scene to another shooting event in San Diego based upon the firearms characteristics in the firearms database, and 36% of the time, we're actually getting a usable profile. Combine those, and 64% of the time we're either getting a profile or a match or both. So we're very excited about that. So what is our take-home message? Stay calm, study forensic science, because it totally rocks. Thank you so much.
She did it, she made it understandable, and she did it in less than 5 minutes. How cool is that, right? Jennifer, thank you so much. The work the Crime Lab is doing under Jennifer's leadership is amazing. It's demonstrating that the San Diego Police Department is truly a step ahead in crime solving, so please accept this token of our appreciation. Thank you.